Timeout!
Hello and welcome to the final regular season edition or the first postseason edition of Timeout, however you prefer to look at it. Right now we'll call it the final regular season edition because before we get to the playoffs, we're going to talk about a team that finished its season last week, and that is Lutheran High Northeast. The Eagles had a 34-27 win over Crofton to finish 5-4. Both of those teams are probably good enough that they could be in the playoffs and possibly win a first-round game just based on the district they're in. But the Eagles got a lot from Karel Kolmus. Kolmus had 4 touchdowns of 45 or more yards, 1 reception, 3 runs. Really kind of sparked the Eagles in the game, and Crofton was moving the ball methodically down the field. Lutheran High Northeast, though, able to respond each time. Kolmus talked a little bit about that after the game.
I've getting past adversity all year, and we finally got over it. A little too late, but hey, we'll take it.
And he was right. It was a little too late, but for 33 area teams, it was not a little too late because there are 33 area teams in the playoffs. That is a very large number. In Class A, one of those teams, Norfolk High. The Panthers, despite losing 38-7 to Omaha Westside last week, they reached the playoffs and they'll travel to Kearney as the number 16 seed. Little confidence boost for Norfolk perhaps as they enter the postseason. Westside's 38 points were their second lowest total on the season. In Class C1, there are 5 teams. You have to consider Norfolk Catholic to be the favorite, and if you didn't consider them to be the favorite before last week, you definitely should now after a 49-21 win over West Point Beamer. Not only did Dylan Couts go out and get his, but the Knights returned back Evan Smith, which is big on several fronts. Number 1, defensively, he is as good of a defensive back as there is in the state. Number 2, Smith's presence in the backfield will not only give a little complement to Couts' speed, as Smith is more of a power inside the tackles runner, he'll also give Couts a little bit of a break, and in the fourth quarter, if the Knights have any close games down the stretch, they'll have fresher legs. It's actually possible that the Knights could have a very competitive first-round game. That's because they have a rematch with Wahoo Newman. Newman is one of the 7 playoff teams that was on Norfolk Catholic's regular season schedule. Another reason why they're the favorite. They've already played the playoffs. In addition to those 7 playoffs teams, they played the defending Class C1 state champion in O'Neill. So basically, they played 8 playoff teams. Flip that out of the way and move on to Class C2, where there are 6 teams. The favorite in Class C2, you got to believe it's Ponca based on the schedule that they played. It's a lot like Norfolk Catholic, where it's playoff team after playoff team after playoff team. They kept getting the job done. This week, it was with a win over Hartington Cedar Catholic, a 20-0 win over Cedar Catholic. Cedar Catholic had basically done what Ponca had done up until that point. Not basically, they had won all their games. They were both 8-0. It was for a district championship. And kind of a little bit of a momentum game going into the postseason. Ponca will build on that momentum. Cedar Catholic actually slips all the way down to a number 7 seed. Ponca the number 1 seed in Class C2. If you're looking for a dark horse, don't look any further than the C2-4 district, which both Ponca and Cedar Catholic are in, because Battle Creek at 6-3 as the number 9 seed. They traveled to Wilbur-Clatonia in the first round. The 3 losses for the Braves this year were to the number 1, number 5, and the number 7 seeds in the playoffs. In Class D1, there are 12 area playoff teams. Creighton is pretty much untouched this year. 50-37 win over West Holt was their closest win of the year. West Holt has gotten better as the year has gone on too, especially defensively. West Holt is the number 1 seed in the West bracket. Creighton the number 1 seed in the East bracket. Possibly they could have a rematch in the state championship, but there's going to be a lot of games before that because there are 32 teams in the playoffs. And a big reason why 32 teams in the playoffs is too much. No offense, Boyd County, but you're 1-7. A 1-win team does not belong in the postseason. Yes, they played a difficult schedule. Yes, if they had been somewhere else in the state, they'd probably have a better record, but they won 1 game. You don't get to the playoffs with 1 win. I'm sorry, Boyd County. I don't mean to trash on you. I'm not trashing on you. I'm trashing on the system. Maybe you'll go out and beat West Holt and prove me wrong. If you do that, I'll wear a Boyd County shirt next week to apologize. Moving on to Class D2, the final class. 9 area teams are in the playoffs. A number 1 seed again in Bloomfield, meaning there are 4 number 1 seeds from our area. Bloomfield in D2, Creighton West Holt in D1, in their different sides of the bracket. In C2, like I mentioned, Ponca, Norfolk Catholic in C1. Outside of Bloomfield, Humphrey St. Francis kind of fell back. They lost to Fullerton last week, but don't count out the Flyers. 7-1. Could be one of those wins that maybe get you a little bit refocused for the playoffs. They're among the teams, as well as Wynot, that you can expect to possibly contend for the Class D2 state championship, but you know it's the postseason. Anything can happen. And when we get to the round of 16, we'll talk a little bit more about 8-man football next week. Until then, I am Tom Beamer for Timeout. Catch some football this weekend. It should be nice.